Okay, so I've made this video several times already, but every single time I do, something has been going wrong, like my crappy mic for yeah, I can't afford a better mic, so every now and then it just like gets really loud and screechy. So if that happens, I'm sorry, and I'm letting you know ahead of time. And there's just a lot of other inconveniences. Before this video, there was another one that I made that showed you how to get medals really fast, which will help you be able to get the SP points for this. This video will show all the beginners what skills they should unlock, equip, and start working on in the very beginning, you know, the essential ones. So anyway, it also shows you how to get them and such. So you go here for the SP. You spend the medals on this one here that says 40 SP. Just buy them over and over and over again till you get enough SP to get what you need. The ones you want to start off with are working on are first, I'm going to go ahead and tell you this. A lot of people say that the forms are useless. That is in no way true, because the forms are more useful if you want like higher vitality and higher strength, so like more defense and more damage types. It can also so the fields are for more intelligent type builds. You have higher NT for those. They last longer, but that's all they do, and you can buff the entire team with them. These are useful too. They are good when you have your own. They're both different for good for different types of builds. Sorry, I'm kind of running on low sleep here, and my throat's kind of bad, which is it's backed up. You want to get power form, armor form, speed form, human fortress 1. The human fortress, you do not really need a higher version of it. You are good with just human fortress 1, because when it gets to a higher version, it applies a type of armor which will override your better armor type buffs. So you don't want to do that, because when you apply a weak buff onto a strong buff, or a strong buff onto a weak buff, it overrides the previous one. And this one, even at version 4, is weaker than the version 4 of armor. So you just want to use version 1 of this with armor, because it will keep you from being knocked back, and that way you'll also get the defense out of it too. Healing field 1. You shoot it somewhere, you run in, and it buffs everyone in your team who goes into it. And it goes up to version 4, it can heal you for a lot. It doesn't heal you for very much at first. And then you want power field. It works the same way as armor form. Obviously it ups your defense, but it lasts longer, takes more intelligence, and it can buff your entire team. Same thing for guard field. And then critical form shot is also useful. Version 3 ups your crit rate, version 4 ups your crit damage. It does not say that, I don't recall, but it does work that way. Nanotech 4, it ups every single one of your stats. It increases it a lot. So that's always good for... Some people think it's just good for supports. It's generally true, but no matter what kind of build you're running, if you have a teammate, it can be useful. Then there is... We're not going to bother with this, because you'll be on DLC 4 by the time you get this. It's useful. Well, I'll go ahead and tell you about it though. Power break shot. It downs your. It downs the enemy's damage. This power armor break shot. It downs their defense. So they shoot faster and recharge faster than viral. But which is good because it makes it harder to dodge if you're in PvP, and you can buff more things that are farther separated. I mean debuff. And the thing is, it does not affect crit rate really at all, but viral takes way longer to recharge. But the thing is, if something is hit with it, or anyone who's hitting that person or thing will have upped crit rate, and it also does what armor break and power break does all by itself, but it takes way longer to recharge. It is a field shot, so everything it touches, it will have that effect on, or anything that runs into it. But it shoots slower, so it's easier to dodge in PvP. Then there is... Give me just a second to look through it here. Well, you can go ahead and make use of this too. Obviously, it stuns things. The higher your intelligence is, the more likely it is to affect something. The higher your dex is, the more damage it has. And it could also affect it in terms of, well, you get the point. Anyway, this here is also useful because it can heal you a little bit, but it's better if you already have something healing you, like HP recovery, which boosts how much something heals. This thing, some people tend to think that it doesn't work, but it more like, I mean, when it glitches out, the thing is, it more boosts the already existing recovery of something, like first aid or something like that. So if you wait for something to start healing first, it will have more of an effect after. Otherwise, it can still heal you, but it does it by a very small margin. It does that on version 2, 3, and 4. Once you get to version 3, it explodes. If you hold down to the point where it explodes, it leaves you vulnerable for a short amount of time, but if you are in PvP or something, it could be... It's just not a good idea. I don't recommend it. To let it explode anyway. It can be useful, and when you activate it, anything that hits you during its activation will be... It won't register the damage, because it basically makes you immortal for the time that you're there. It makes you like crouch on the floor or whatever, so you're not doing anything during that time, but it heals you and protects you against things. It's not something really as important as some of the other skills, but it is something worth using. I did mention earlier how my mic is bad, which is why I'm talking very, very slow here, because it tends to do that while I'm explaining these things. So I want to make sure that anyone who's watching this can actually hear what it is that I'm saying. So I'm gonna let's look over this one more time and make sure I've covered everything. I believe I have. Yeah, I believe that's everything. Everything for skills anyway. I'm also gonna tell you this for gadgets. Uh, this here, it lowers your bullet circle accuracy by a lot. So I would never use a gun for damaging things equally, like when you're using a sword. If you're using a sword, I would use the sword as the main weapon if you ever actually want to do damage with it, because this is very useful for upping its damage, but it lowers the accuracy of guns by a whole lot, so it makes it especially useless with guns in PvP. So just like equip a pistol or something as a secondary and just have at it with a sword. First aid. Obviously, always have it. Just obviously. This is something that should be obvious to people here. Should be obvious being the key word. People, for some reason, never have just never consider using this at all. It makes it so stuns, poisons, and fire does not affect you. It will take forever and so many attempts to get it to work. It is really, really good in both PvP and PvE. Never go anywhere without it. Never. So, anyway, when you're going to put on your skills, just go on here. I recommend that you put your buffs on your secondary weapon you're not really going to be using. This is a little bit different because this is just unique the way I did it, and it's a sword build. So often when you're using swords, if you don't have a gun and sword, you can't really debuff with it, so it's different. So I'm just going in here to show you how this works and give you an idea of what to do. So use your the secondary weapon that you're not really going to be using. Put the buffs on it. Things like Human Fortress, Power Field, Guard Field, Speed Form, things like that. And then as for your primary weapon, you're going to want to put things like the attack skills and heals and debuffs on it, so you can always have them on hand. So that's basically everything I wanted to show you here. Just go here, unlock it. I already showed you how to get SP. Go through here and apply them that way. And something that I'm always going to recommend, don't use extra stats than what you have to for your weapon if you're going into PvP. Just put on the base stats for the primary weapon, and whatever secondary will fit on is what you want to use generally, unless you have your own creative, inventive idea. I'm using these keywords because I really want people to understand this. It is very important. Most people just go in gung-ho, don't even halfway think about it, and then just go and get themselves destroyed, just not considering any of the possibilities at all. And it's really sad, and I just want to help people. So thank you for watching my video, and please subscribe if you like it.